First story, my husband ended himself after I cheated on him. Now, my daughter has cut ties with me, blaming me for his death, and refusing to forgive or meet her stepfather. I don't know why everyone thinks I'm such a monster. I just want to live my life, and I'm tired of being punished for moving on. My daughter refuses to speak to me, and no one understands how hard this has been for me. I never thought posting here would get me anywhere, but maybe someone can finally see my side, my husband. And I had been married for over 20 years, and for most of it, I wasn't happy we married young. Me at 20 and him at 24, and back then I thought he was everything I wanted. He was stable, dependable, and kind, but stability turns into boredom over the years. Our relationship became stagnant when he got sick 3 years ago. Everything fell apart. He was diagnosed with a chronic illness that left him unable to work and constantly tired. Suddenly, I wasn't just his wife, I was his caregiver. He became obsessed with his health, and every conversation was about his pain or his treatments. I felt like I was suffocating. No one talks about how hard it is to be the one left holding everything together. I worked full-time, handled all the bills, took care of our daughter, and had to play nurse. He stopped being a partner to me. I was alone in that marriage, and no one cared. Then about a year ago, I met someone at work. He's younger, 30 to my 40, but he made me feel alive again. Let's call him Jake. Jake saw me in a way my husband hadn't in years. He'd compliment me, make me laugh, and remind me of what it felt like to be desired. I didn't mean for it to turn into an affair, but it just happened at first. I told myself it was harmless. I needed an escape, something that was mine. But the more time I spent with Jake, the more I realized I deserved to be happy. My husband's illness shouldn't have to define my life. I told myself that he wouldn't want me to waste away feeling miserable, but deep down I knew he'd never forgive me if he found out. He did find out though, and it destroyed him, having me to stay to try therapy, but I couldn't do it. I moved out. He wouldn't stop calling and texting, telling me how much he needed me, but I was done. I told him I couldn't live my life for him anymore. 6 months ago, he took his own life. My daughter was the one who found him. She called me sobbing, and I'll admit, I didn't know what to say. What could I say? It was tragic. Yes, but he made his choice. I can't carry the weight of his decisions. After the funeral, my daughter completely shut me out. She moved in with her grandparents, and every time I try to talk to her, she shuts me down. She's only 16, but she acts like she knows everything. I suggested therapy. But Sharefist, meanwhile, Jake has been my rock. He understands me in a way no one else does. He's helped me see that I'm not a bad person. I just deserve to be happy. I moved in with him a few months ago, and I'm finally starting to feel like myself again. But my daughter, she's stuck in that ass. She refuses to move on. She clings to her father's memory like it's some sort of shrine, and blames me for everything she won't even give. Jake Akants, I get that she's hurt, but at some point she has to grow up. Life moves on. So Reddit, tell me, why should I feel guilty for finding someone better? For moving on and being happy, while my daughter clings to the past daughter's perspective. I've been holding this in for so long, and I can't take it anymore. My mom posts on Reddit, making herself out to be some kind of victim, and I'm just done. If she wants to tell her side of the story, fine, but I'm going to tell mine too. Maybe then people will see the truth. For as long as I can remember, my dad was my best friend. He was the kind of dad who would sit with me for hours, helping me with homework. Even after working all day, he'd take me to the park, build blanket forts, and stay up late making up silly bedtime stories. He wasn't just my dad. He was my hero. When got sick, every changed at first. We thought it was just stress, but then came the diagnosis, a degenerative illness that would slowly take everything from him. I was only 13, but I knew it was serious when my mom barely reacted. She just sighed like it was an inconvenience, like his health was something that got in the way of her plans. She started spending less time at home. Dad would be stuck on the couch, exhausted. Well, I tried to help him however I could. I learned how to cook basic meals because mom would work late all the time. She stopped coming to family dinners. When she was home, she acted like taking care of him was a chore. I overheard their fights. She'd accuse him of being too needy and say things like, "I didn't sign up for this." My dad always tried to calm her down, to apologize, even though he wasn't the one who did anything wrong. I don't know how he kept going, watching the person he loved treat him like a burden. When I found out about the affair, I didn't believe it at first. Dad tried to keep it from me, but I saw the messages on her phone one night. When she left it on the counter, she'd been texting someone she named Jake. In her post, I confronted her, and she didn't even deny it. She just rolled her eyes and said, "You'll understand when your realtor understand what that it's okay to destroy your family because you're bored." The worst part was how it broke my dad. He tried so hard to keep it together for him, but I could see how much it hurt him. He begged her to stay, even after everything. He told me one night that he felt like he wasn't enough for her anymore, that maybe if he weren't sick, she'd still love him days. Later, she moved out. I was the one who found him. I came home from school and the house was quiet, too quiet. I thought maybe he was sleeping, but when I went to check his room, he wasn't there. I found him in the garage. I can't get the image out of my head. I called 90,011, but it was too late. He was gone. Do you know what my mom said when I called her sobbing? "I'm sorry, but this isn't my fault. She didn't even come back to the house. She let me deal with the police, the ambulance, everything. I am 16 years old, and I had to handle it all because she was too busy playing house with her new boyfriend. After the funeral, I moved in with my grandparents. I couldn't stay in that house. It felt haunted, like every room reminded me of him. My grandparents have been amazing, but even they can't erase the pain of what my mom did now. She acts like she's the victim. She keeps calling me, saying I'm punishing her by cutting her off like I owe her forgiveness. She even wants me to meet Jake, as if I'd ever want to sit across from the man she left us for while my dad was dying. I'm in therapy now, but it's hard. Some days I still blame myself. I keep thinking if I'd come home earlier, maybe I could have saved him, but then I remember it wasn't me who broke him, it was her. So yeah, maybe I'm clinging to the past, but how am I supposed to move on when every day I'm reminded of what she did? Mom, if you're reading this, stop trying to rewrite the story. You're not the victim here. You made your choice. Now you have to live with it. Ops update. I can't believe the hate I've gotten on my last post. I came here looking for support, Betrayal. I got was judgment for those of you who didn't read it. I posted about my daughter refusing to talk to me after her father's death. I moved on with my boyfriend and she cut me off, blaming me for everything. What people don't understand is that my marriage was over long before my husband died. His illness consumed everything. It was like I didn't exist anymore. I gave, and there was nothing left of me. My husband's death was tragic, but it wasn't my fault. I didn't force him to make that decision now. My daughter is posting lies about me online, making me out to be some kind of monster. She's a teenager. She doesn't understand how complicated relationships can be. I've tried reaching out to her so many times, but she refuses to listen. She just wants to play the victim. Jake, my boyfriend, has been the only person who stood by me through this. He gets me in a way no one else does. I've been through so much and I deserve happiness, but it feels like the world wants to punish me for moving on. Reddit, I need to know, why does everyone expect me to carry the weight of everyone else's pain? Editor note, the daughter mostly repeated what she said in her post with more information. Daughter in the comments, this is my mom's second post about me, and I can't stay quiet anymore. She's lying again. She's trying to make herself the victim, but here's the truth. My mom abandoned me and my dad when we needed her the most. She didn't just move on. She left us 3 years ago. My dad was diagnosed with a chronic illness. It was hard, but he never stopped trying to be there for me. He was always asking about my day, helping me with schoolwork even. When he was exhausted, he was my rock. Even when I knew he was hurting my mom, she checked out the moment things got hard. She started working late, going out with friends, leaving me to take care of my dad. She'd roll her eyes when he asked for help, or complain that his illness was taking over her life. She said that a lot, her life, like we weren't a part of it, and she met Jake at first. I didn't know, but I started noticing how much time she spent on her phone, how she'd leave the house looking. Happier than I'd seen her in years, one night I saw the messages she was calling. Jake, the love of her life, while my dad was in the next room. Struggling to get out of bed when my dad found out it broke him. He tried to forgive her, he begged her to. Go to therapy with him, she refused. She said she needed space to find herself. Months later, she moved out, and then my dad, he couldn't take it anymore. He ended his life, and I was the one who found him. I was 16 years old. I came home from school and found my dad in the garage. I had to call the police. I had to sit in the house alone, waiting for them to come. My mom didn't even show up. When I called her crying, she just said this isn't my fault. She didn't come to help me. She didn't care after. The funeral, she moved in with Jake. I moved in with my grandparents because I couldn't be around her. She keeps calling me selfish for cutting her off, but she's the one who destroyed our family, and now she's here on Reddit acting like she's the victim. She's not. She abandoned us. She killed my dad, even if she didn't do it directly. She left him to break, and now she wants me to meet Jake to pretend like he's not part of what tore us apart. Mom, if you're reading this, stop blaming. Everyone else, you made your choices, now live with them. Second story, my sister framed me for stealing her wedding fund, and my entitled parents demanded I pay her, then disowned me, believing her now. 2 years later, my parents came back saying, Miss Sister's life is ruined due to a gambling addiction. Her husband divorced her, and she is in financial debt. Begging me to reconcile and support her to heal, I rate it. This is a mess, but I need some perspective for context. I29F grew up with my sister Vanessa. 31F, and let's just say she's always been my parents' favorite. She was the golden child, outgoing, charming, and spoiled. I, on the other hand, was the responsible one, the one who had to work for everything, the one who got the lectures about being too serious. Vanessa has always had money issues. She spends like crazy and makes terrible financial decisions, but my parents always bailed her out. Credit card debt. They paid car payments, covered. Meanwhile, I worked hard, saved every penny I could, and never asked for help. 2 years ago, my now husband, 30 meters, and I were saving for our wedding. We didn't save much, but we were proud of what we'd saved in our joint account. Vanessa was engaged too, but her wedding plans were ridiculous, over the top, and completely out of her budget. That's when things went to hell one day. Out of nowhere, my parents accused me of stealing Vanessa's wedding fund. Apparently, she'd shown them proof that I'd taken thousands of dollars from her savings account and transferred it to mine. I was completely livid. First of all, I didn't even know she had a wedding fund. Second, I would never steal from anyone, let alone my own sister. I tried explaining this, but they wouldn't listen. My parents were furious, saying I betrayed Vanessa and the family. They demanded I pay the money back or they'd cut me off. I begged them to look into it more closely, but Vanessa had doctored screenshots of fake bank transfers and was playing the victim like she was auditioning for an Oscar. She cried, accused me of ruining her future, and spun this whole story about how she trusted me, only for me to stab her in the back. I refused to give them money. I didn't know that's when they disowned me. They told the entire extended family what I'd done, and everyone believed them. I was completely cut off. No phone calls, no holidays, nothing. My aunts and uncles sent me nasty messages. My cousins blocked me on social media. It was humiliating. Vanessa, meanwhile, got her wedding. My parents gave her the money she claimed I stole, and she had her big day while I was left to pick up the pieces. 2 years later, I've been no contact with my family ever since. It was hard at first, but my husband and I have built a good life together. We had a small, beautiful wedding with his parents and close friends, bought a house, and focused on our careers. Honestly, my life has never been better, but Vanessa's life not so much. Her marriage fell apart within a year. Her husband left her after finding out she had a gambling problem, and she's now back. Living with my parents, they're supporting her financially. Again, because she's broke a few weeks ago, I got a message from my mom. She said they needed to talk and begged me to come over at first. I ignored it, but then my dad called and I finally gave in when I got to their house. My mom started crying and apologized. For everything she said, they found out Vanessa lied about the wedding fund. Apparently there was no fund. Vanessa made the whole thing up because she was drowning in gambling debt and needed money fast. She used me as a scapegoat because she knew. My parents will believe her. I just sat there stunned for years. I've been the family outcast over something I didn't do, and they're only now admitting they were wrong. My dad said they felt terrible and wanted to make things right. Then they hit me with the real reason they reached out. They want me to forgive Vanessa because she's struggling, and they think the family needs to come together. When I asked if Vanessa had apologized, my mom looked uncomfortable and said she's not ready yet, but she's been through a lot. I told them I needed time to think, but honestly, I'm furious. Vanessa destroyed my reputation, ruined my relationship with my entire family, and still hasn't taken responsibility. My parents enabled her then, and they're enabling her. Now, I don't think I can forgive them, but part of me feels guilty for not giving them another chance. So Reddit AA for refusing to forgive my family update. Hi everyone. I wasn't expecting so much support on my original post, but thank you for all the comments and advice. Reading through your perspectives really helped me process everything. I wasn't sure how to handle the situation, but after a lot of thought, I decided I needed to hear them out one more time, not for them, but for me. I agreed to meet my parents at their house. I'll be honest, I wasn't sure what I'd find, but I told myself I'd keep it together now. Matter what. When I got there, my mom immediately started crying again. She kept saying how sorry they were, how much they'd miss me, and how they should have known better. My dad was quieter, but said he felt ashamed for how they treated me. They admitted that Vanessa's sleaze had completely blindsided them, but at the time they thought they were protecting her. I asked the question that's been haunting me for years. Why was it so easy to believe I'd steal from her? I've never done anything like that in my life. My mom said something about how Vanessa seemed so convincing and how they didn't think she'd lie about something so serious. My dad added that they were under a lot of pressure with wedding planning and acted out of emotion. No real answers, just excuses. Then Vanessa walked in. I don't know what I was expecting. Maybe some kind of heartfelt apology, maybe even a shred of remorse. Instead, Vanessa acted like we were about to have a casual catch-up. She smiled, sat down, and said, "So, I guess they told you everything." I just stared at her. "Yeah, they told me you lied about the wedding fund and blamed me for your gambling debts." She shrugged it off, gave a half-aired apology, saying she didn't think this would go so far, and added you were with your husband, living a happy life. Anyway, unlike me. I couldn't believe what I was hearing. I told her exactly how her lie had affected me, how I lost my family, how I had to block people who were harassing me, how I spent nights crying because I felt so alone. Her response, "That's not my fault. Mom and Dad were the ones who overreacted at that point." I looked at my parents, waiting for them to say something, anything, to hold her accountable, but they just sat there in awkward silence. Vanessa, of course, took this as her cue to start lecturing me. She said I should get over it because family is more important than grudges. She even had the audacity to say, "You have a good life now. What does it matter?" I stood up and said, "It matters because you destroyed me. And they believed you. You've never apologized, and you're still acting like the victim." I walked out after that. My parents begged me to stay, saying we could work through this as a family, but he couldn't do it. They're still prioritizing Vanessa, and she's still the same manipulative person she's always been. Since then, my mom has sent me multiple messages asking me to reconsider. She says Vanessa is in therapy now and trying to be better. It doesn't change the fact that she hasn't taken responsibility for what she did to me. I'm torn. I don't want to hold on to anger forever, but I also don't think I can ever trust my family again. My parents may have apologized, but they're still enabling. Vanessa's behavior, if I let them back into my life, what's stopping them from turning on me game the next time? She needs a scapegoat. I haven't decided what to do yet. A lot of you mentioned in the comments that forgiveness doesn't mean reconciliation, and I think that's where I'm leaning. I can forgive them for my own peace of mind, but that doesn't mean I need to let them back into my life. As for Vanessa, I don't think I'll ever be able to forgive her, not because I'm holding a grudge, but because she hasn't even tried to make amends. Her apology was nothing more than excuses and deflection anyway. Thank you again for all your advice and support. I'll update if anything changes, but for now, I'm keeping my distance and focusing on my own happiness. Edit people in the comments are saying, what about your extended family? I didn't give a shit about them, but yeah, I've cut ties with them too, and the only family members I have now are my husband's parents. Third story. My bullying sister rebranded the gifts I bought for my nephews and gifted them as being from Santa. I lost it. This happened during Christmas last year. My older sister has always been a handful one. Might say she would generally act entitled, but then when someone makes her back off, she goes back to acting normal for a while before starting it all over. She got married a decade ago and has 2 young sons that are 5 and 6, and every year she makes sure there's something extra under the tree from Santa for them, which we're all fine with. But Christmas of 2021, she did something that blew my mind. The Christmas Eve gatherings with the whole family are usually held at my grandparents' house. That way the individual families have their personal celebrations on Christmas Day with their own kids or with families of sow or spouses. Last year, I was worried I might not make it to the Christmas Eve party as I was away on some personal matters, so I shipped the presents I got for relatives, rewrap it in a large box to my grandparents' house just in case. But I did manage to make it home the day before Christmas Eve by driving through several states. Everything went well, and we had the big dinner with both turkey and ham. I am a real sucker for the turkey. Then came the time for gifts. We draw straws for who passes around the gifts among the younger members of the family, and my 15-year-old cousin pulled the short straw. Everything was good until the presents I got for my nephews were passed to them. All the presents I sent in advance used the same wrapping paper, so it was pretty obvious after a while which ones were from me. But when the 2 boys got the ones I gave them, my sister pointed to new name labels on them both that were clearly pasted over the ones I'd put on them, and exclaimed they were from Santa, which made the 2 boys eagerly open them and shout with glee. I was pretty angry, and my sister saw it on my face. She pulled me aside to talk, and I asked her what the hell she thought she was doing. She beat around the bush for a moment and said that since she thought I wasn't going to make it to Christmas that year, it would have been better if the kids thought the gifts were from Santa. I was furious and yelled at her. That caught the attention of my grandmother, who also knew what happened. She begged me to keep quiet about the false Santa gifts, but I blew up over her wanting to rug sweep, and that attracted half the family into the kitchen to ask what all the yelling was about. My sister tried to say something, but I spoke over her that she'd rebranded the gifts I got for my nephews as being from Santa. My grandfather looked at her and said, "Is this true?" My sister looked emotional and then did what she usually did when called out on something this bad. She started sobbing like a little kid and crouched down on the floor to have a pity party. Between sobs, she kept trying to defend herself, but the only one that was buying into her act was my grandmother, who only made more excuses, like what my sister said. They thought I wasn't going to be there. It was for the sake of the children, etc., etc. My grandfather was unfazed though, and he, along with several other members of the family, said that she needed to make it up to me for this, because that means the boys technically got nothing from me that they know of. When I clearly gave them nice, expensive gifts that now they won't know ever came from me just because of what my sister did, my grandmother. Finally backed off and briefly sided with the rest of us before going out to the living room to watch kids. I then had an idea and said that I would give each of my nephews $50 bills from my wallet, and I expect to be paid that money back and get paid back for the gifts that were no longer from me because my sister had commandeered them. My brother-in-law sighed and Agreethan. I dragged my sister to the garage to have words with her. I gave my nephews each a crisp $50 bill and told them to buy whatever they liked with it. My sister spent the rest of the evening almost silent. No more tears or anything, just silent. She may as well have been a mannequin on display or something. And before I left, my brother-in-law promised my sister will personally pay me back. I thought I was going to have to wait a good while to get the money back. But yesterday, my sister and brother-in-law came knocking at my door, and my sister meekly handed me an envelope with $200 in it and apologized to me. She started to make more excuses for what she did when her brother-in-law told her to just stop, because what she did was a crummy thing and she knows there was no excuse for it, so she just apologized one more time and walked back to their car, loudly sniffling on a tissue. My brother-in-law told me the $200 came from out of my sister's account, and that was basically her fun money for this month, and maybe having a leaner month will teach her a lesson. Probably not though, edit, sorry. I forgot to include my gender in this. I'm a guy in my early 30s edit too. I'm getting tired of so many messages from people talking about how I should have let the situation go, and that in their family branding gifts for the kids as being from Santa is normal news flash for you people. Your family is not mine. My parents never did Santa gifts. Hardly any of my relatives ever did either. The only ones who really do anymore are my sister and Bill, and someone also pointed out a great fact: to get gifts from Santa on Christmas Eve, Santa would have to be day early. I played along just enough that nothing was ruined for my nephews, and some acted like what I did was out of validation or competition. It wasn't. It was to teach my sister a lesson. I try to give to all kids in my close family equally on Christmas Eve, and I never outshine their parents on any gifts, and because of my sister's narcissistic logic, the 2 presents from me to my nephews were made to be no longer for me. So I gave each of the kids $50, which was the value of the things. I'd gotten them RC cars, if anyone was wondering. Also, if any of you actually knew my sister like I do, practically known of you aside from trolls would stick up for what she did with the presents. 30 plus years I've dealt with her antics, so here's a taste of what shed it to me. She shaved part of my head in my sleep when I was 16. Had to have therapist of my head shaved before going back to school. She physically attacked me for not getting her way many times. It wasn't until I actually fought back hard enough that I almost badly hurt her that she finally stopped laying her hands on me. After that, she switched tactics to emotional abuse and terrible pranks. One of the things she did was to sign my name up for various adult magazines, and I mean the really creepy, gross ones, and they were not only sent to where I lived, but also to my parents and numerous other relatives, which made them question why they were getting magazines for that crap with my name on them, and their mail only. Found out it was my sister that did that because one of her friends came forward and told Yuzen my sister reacted by throwing a huge fit over how she'd ruined her best prank and cut out said friend. Said friend is now my friend, and we even briefly dated. Me sister also passed my number and picture around town telling people I was gay, which made my phone blow up with calls and texts from people who were looking for a good time. I had to have my number changed like 5 times to make it stop. My sister also signed my email up for crazy things too. Had to repeatedly change my email because she kept somehow getting it the only way I got that SH2 finally stop was by threatening to tell Bill what she was really like when they were dating. She was actually mad at me for ruining her fun. Then she put on a complete nice girl act and married Bill, whom we all managed to convince to get a prep before marrying. Her, so my sister switching the tags on the gifts for my nephews to be from Santa was just the latest in a long line of her SHT that I won't stand for if I'd let it slide. She most certainly would have done it again and kept doing so till someone made her stop. I had to stop it now, otherwise it would have kept going somehow. Stated that I'm too angry. Let's see you go through everything. I just listed and not be angry. I've been to both therapy and counseling. They actually found my anger towards my sister justifiable because they were appalled when I unloaded on them. All of the things my sister did, especially since I only let that anger out when she does something bad to me anymore. I could be angry all the time or every time I see her, but I am not just angry when she makes me angry. Thank you for watching the video. If you're interested in listening to these kinds of stories, we've got more in store for you. Simply subscribe to our channel, hit the like button, and share it with your friends.